Hey, it is Tammy Yeomans for Reading Across the Curriculum. So, this is the book that my kids decided to read this year, Inspector Hopper's Mystery Year by Doug Cushman. We decided because we were doing a unit in science on bugs. At the same time, we are working on it's almost like a social story with weather, how weather connects to what we wear. So, this book actually fit in quite perfectly. Each chapter is a season, and then there's a mystery, and then throughout it you can actually tie into why the mystery is happening during that season. And it's typically due to the weather. So this is a great book. I highly recommend it. So first thing I did was I created a flip book. My students work off a Secor. They have fringe, but I didn't want to make this too bulky. So this book has a lot of what you would call core words in it. So I went ahead and color coded them. And I also put the picture next to them that's associated with the core. My kids are ASD nonverbal, high functioning, very good receptive skills, but expressive skills. We need to find a way that they can answer us or give them ways that they can answer us. One challenge I had was this is guiding questions. So I know my kids can do who, what, where, why. So I had to go ahead and work on the way to do guided questions with these type of students. So this is our little banner that we made, or a little flyer we made that was hanging up in my center for a book club that meets on Tuesdays at 10:30 and 11, room 89. Oh, one thing I forgot to show you is this has onomatopoeia words in the way they appear in the book, in the sequence. And in order to access that or introduce that, we had read obviously, Peter Rabbit because of the Easter holiday. So I went ahead and I found these on Teachers Pay Teachers just to introduce onomatopoeia. So that's a big concept for my kids. But that was one of the pre-assessments that I did. We went ahead and put together an actual portfolio for both students, Max and Devon. Their work is pulled out. And here we go, displays of the work. So my students did the title page. They did the chapters. This obviously was, I had to write it out, and they traced it. This is Devon's work. Devon is the lower of the two. So with chapter 1, we did, I think each student did this. I got to go back and check. Book and main characters. He mixed that up really because Inspector Hopper would be the main character. This is chapter 1. And this is the season. Who, Emma Worm, what happened? There was a ghost. He mixed this up. The ghost was living in the pumpkin, and the ghost really wasn't in the pumpkin. Emma thought there was a ghost in the pumpkin because the gopher. And then they found the gopher. That would have been the solution. If I had pushed it a little further, I would have asked if the mystery was solved or not solved. My notes would probably say that the student had gotten distracted by this time. This is here's Devon season 2, chapter 2. Season is winter. The doctor is sick. Where did they look? They actually looked in the kitchen first, and then that's where they found his tea. So he mixed this up, but the book said not to correct. So this is actually how he understood it. The solution was sick feeling emojis. I used this because my kids do the feeling song a lot with the emojis, so I knew they could relate to this. So then we go back to Max's portfolio work. So he did his title page. One of the things I do with Max is I put 3 squares because he can write his own name. And so that is his chapters. Yes, so each student did the book, the main character, and McBug is the second character. He did that really well. Max is the one I used guided questions for. The season was spring. Who was Miss Beadle? What happened? There was a kite. So what happens in this story is the daughter is flown away by the kite. But what do you want to know? Max showed me on the core board and using assisted technology why the hat. So he wanted to know why the hat blew in the water. And it was because the wind, and we can tie that back to spring being a windy and wet month. So this was student guided. This is chapter 4, and this is summer. Holly Cricket's music went missing. And it was Franklin B. It says, what do you think is going to happen? The bee will give back the music. And then who are you most interested in? They interviewed geese and bat for this mystery. Why? Max said because they sleep upside down. So guided. This was my assessment. So what I had done also too to do the story walk is I had created color coded by chapter all the characters and situations, with the first 3 being available in each one, McGee and whatnot. You'll see pictures of that. And then chapter 1, chapter 2, chapter 3, chapter 4 are all there. Actually, it's 1, 2, 3, 4. But summative assessment, students can go ahead and place. So if I was to cover up the white space for them, and maybe ask them, what happened in autumn? Can you show me what happened in autumn? They would be able to show me, Emma Worm. They would be able to show me, they would be able to put these icons in that area, and I did actually a summative assessment. My students did really well with this. I think it is color-coded, and it is aimed at their success, so I think that was good, but it was really good for them to participate in this activity. My students typically don't see this kind of work, so this was a lot of fun to do with them. The other thing we plan on doing is extending this to whole group and then using these pieces that I created so they could tell me an answer throughout the story, and actually doing a reader's theater. So that is my presentation of all the work that was done. As far as the tools that I used to help my students in this area, as we read Inspector Hopper's mystery book, I highly recommend it. It was a good read for students.